Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's we're going to be talking about the all-new GMC Sierra EV. Before we get in this video though, as always, if you're going to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Let's start off with what we know so far on this GMC Sierra EV. So it is being built on the same platform that the Silverado EV and Hummer EV are built on. And so you're going to see a lot of carryover with this GMC Sierra EV. So GMC did not announce the size of battery that this is going to have, but considering it's going to have the same 400 miles of range that the Silverado EV has, then it's most likely going to have the over 200 kilowatt hour battery pack that's in the Hummer EV and in the loaded up Silverado EV. On top of that, it has some pretty crazy power figures like both of those vehicles. It's 754 horsepower, 785 pound-feet of torque. Now that is in a full power mode. It's called the max power mode to be exact. And apparently it's going to give it a 0 to 60 time of under 4.5 seconds. Basically a 0 to 60 time that is quicker than the F-150 Lightning, because that is all that GM cares about when it comes to 0 to 60 times. Now, aside from that, it has a lot of features that, again, both the Silverado and the Hummer EV have. And again, it makes sense because it's supposed to kind of be in between both of them. So it has the four-wheel steering that the Hummer EV has, and it also has the crab walk feature as well, which is pretty exciting. But again, that's going to be up on higher up packages. So yeah, you got to pay to play when it comes to the Sierra EV. It also is going to be able to charge 100 miles of range in only 10 minutes with fast charging, which is pretty cool because, well, it has charging speeds capable of 350 kilowatts, which, yeah, you just have to find a charger that's able to do that. I guess that's the one downside about that. Now, towing capacity is going to be about 9,500 pounds on the loaded up version. Payload capacity is going to be about 1,300 pounds, which, yeah, the payload capacity kind of on the low side of things for a half-ton truck, at least in today's world, especially for a GM half-ton truck, because most of their half-ton trucks have a payload capacity in like the 16 to 1,800 pound range, depending on the exact packaging with the truck itself. And then it's going to feature a lot of Sierra stuff, and then again, a lot of stuff that you've already heard about in the Silverado EV and the Hummer EV. So it's going to have the multi-pro tailgate. It is also going to have, a completely, well, I shouldn't say completely, but a mostly updated interior compared to the current version of the GMC Sierra 1500. So bigger infotainment system. It's like 16 inches, something crazy like that. Just massive screen, massive digital gauge cluster. And with the higher up packages, they're using tons of real metal, wood trim, and leather to make sure that it feels really luxurious. And, well, it's good that they're doing that because the Edition 1 Denali is going to start at $108,000, which is only about $7,000 less than the Hummer EV, which is kind of interesting. And it's actually less expensive than the fully loaded Silverado RST EV, which I find kind of odd. I don't know what GM is doing with their whole pricing situation, but it's basically a truck, and it's going to be able to do truck things except for, of course, tow, because electric trucks just, they can't tow. They're good at doing the whole towing thing. They're just not good at the whole range thing when it comes to towing. Now, GM is going to release less expensive versions of this new Sierra EV. There's going to be an elevation package that'll apparently be in the like $50,000 range with the starting price, which means after options it's going to be like $70,000. That's just how GMCs work. There also will be an AT4 package, so we're actually going to get like another, fully electric off-roader like the Hummer EV, but something that's a little bit more affordable than the Hummer EV. Now, something you need to know is the 2024 model year will most likely only consist of the Denali Edition 1. The 2025 model year will consist of more packages like the AT4 and like the Elevation package that, again, are going to be a lot more affordable. And so, yeah, that's pretty much everything that we know so far on the new GMC Sierra EV. Let's talk about how this Sierra EV compares to other EV trucks. If we compare it to the Tesla Cybertruck, well, it actually exists. Anyways, moving on to its GM siblings, it has its pros and cons compared to those vehicles. So compared to the Silverado EV, I think it looks a whole lot better, and its fully loaded package is actually less expensive than the Silverado EV. So like, it looks like it's a win-win when you compare it to that. When you compare it to the Hummer EV, however, I don't think it looks as cool as the Hummer EV, and it's not really doing anything groundbreaking because it's just sharing all the features that the Hummer EV has already announced to the world. So I just don't think there's going to be nearly as much hype with this truck, at least for the fully loaded version. Now with the lower down packages, I think that those are going to be a lot more exciting because, again, first off, they're more affordable, and again, this is a more affordable EV truck that actually looks good, especially when you compare it to that Silverado EV. But moving on from that to the F-150 Lightning, it basically looks like it's going to defeat the F-150 Lightning on every single front except for obviously release time because, well, the F-150 Lightning is already out and about in the world. But when you look at it with the specs, it's going to have more range. Towing capacity is going to be pretty similar. It's definitely going to have a nicer interior compared to the F-150 Lightning because even if you get like a Platinum Lightning, that interior is nice, but it's not as nice as the new like fully loaded Denali interior that they showed. But it does come at a pretty substantial price that's more expensive than the most expensive version of the Lightning. And so it looks like, yeah, it is going to be a better truck than the Lightning when it comes to being an EV truck because it just has more features, but you're going to have to pay to play with the GMC Sierra. So it'll be pretty interesting to see how they, stack up once this truck actually comes out, because I'm sure Ford is going to release some updates on the Lightning in between now and when this GMC Sierra actually hits the ground. And so I bet that we'll probably see an F-150 Lightning with 400 miles of range and, maybe crab walk and all this other stuff that that truck happens to have. As for my personal opinions on the truck, if they actually mean anything, which they probably don't because you guys are probably just here for the information that was at the beginning of the video, I think this is pretty solid, and I think it's smart for GM to basically just use the same platform and build out different vehicles within their different brands, because it's going to allow them to basically really fine-tune things with this platform, and it'll make it so that each of the teams can kind of like bounce things off of each other and basically just make it so it's a much better truck at the end of the day with all of the trucks that they are selling, the Silverado EV, the Hummer EV, and this GMC Sierra EV. I will say though, I just don't understand what GM is doing with their styling with these electric trucks, because again, the Hummer EV, they absolutely knocked it out of the park. Like, it's such a good looking vehicle. It looks like a Hummer. The Silverado EV, it's like, what the heck happened there? Now this Sierra, it's right in between, because it does look good, but it just doesn't look great. And I don't know why they can't combine, practicality in terms of the interior space and aerodynamics and all that with good looks. I don't know why that can't happen, because I mean, look at the F-150 Lightning. It looks like a normal F-150. It's a good looking truck and it accomplishes everything that it needs to accomplish. And so, yeah, I'm just not sure why they can't do that with the Sierra. Anyways, I want you guys to let me know what you think about the new GMC Sierra EV, if you're planning on getting one, and which package you're planning on getting. Are you going to go for the fully loaded, $108,000 one, or are you going to wait until the Elevation or until the AT4 comes out? Or are you not going to get one because you've already seen all the towing tests with the F-150 Lightning and you realize that fully electric pickup trucks can't really do truck stuff like you'd want them to do because, well, range just isn't there in today's world? Be interested to hear that. Anyways, I'll see ya.